Welcome back, Rage Nation.
Definitely not PR friends.
Myself, Pete.
He needs to stop, fucking getting cute with his pick.
John the Mountain Man Stokes.
You're not putting them on my models, motherfucker.
Chris the Non-Tech Asian.
Put the tape measure up and get some widgets.
You really frustrated me.
You walked away and you came back and your scalpel had been thrown across the room.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. I will share with you my one rage quit story.
That I'm a robot and I don't have a soul or personality.
This is going to be a really great opportunity for everybody to see how you effed up.
Welcome back, Rage Nation. We are at it again. We got Pete here and we got my boy from in the Caribbean, Dixon.
How you guys doing?
Yeah, we gonna talk some Malifaux. We took a brief break a couple weeks ago, did one episode on Middle Earth, and now we're back at it with the Malifaux stuff. So what we're going to talk about today is we are actually going to look at the Horsemen. So I know a lot of people, especially you, Dixon, are super excited that Levi can bring all of the Horsemen. So we figured we'd give it a go.
Oh my god. He could do it in V1. I think he could do it in V2. I can't remember exactly. And now he can do it again on V3. So I'm just like, hell yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, but before we get into it, make sure that you guys are checking us out on Twitter, Instagram. Definitely check us out on YouTube. We are doing at least, if not weekly, bi-weekly, calling it Mandatory Malifaux. Looking like it's going to be on Thursdays, usually around 8 or 9 o'clock. And basically, that's just going to be a quick stream. It's going to probably be me. Maybe sometimes we'll get in Chris or other people that just want to come on and chat. And just talking about Malifaux. Last time I ended up talking about the new Horsmen, the inventor, and a couple people were on. We talked about it. The patrons got a couple questions that they had about him. And yeah, I finally painted him up with his giant lightning bolt, and he looks pretty cool.
I saw that in the work in progress pictures. Man, that guy looks way better than the original sculpt.
Yeah, and the lightning bolt, if you can just figure out how to paint lightning decent, it's not bad. Lightning is definitely a pain in the butt to paint. I know I had some challenges painting it, but it turned out okay. Definitely check that out, though. We're gonna have that at least bi-weekly, hopefully weekly on YouTube. We're also dropping monthly battle reports. We just dropped one a couple weeks ago. It was a really interesting game, and yeah, it's just gonna be fun. And then finally, if you want to support us directly, check us out at patreon.com/RageQuitWire, where you can support us for as little as $1. So that being said, Dixon, we have these horsemen that ended up coming into Malifaux, and there are 4 of them. There's not one for every faction. So generally speaking, how did these things end up coming into the world of Malifaux?
So lore-wise, I don't know. So I'm going to get that out of the way. But play-wise, the very first one was the Hooded Rider. It was the only one for a while.
Back in it was Malifaux, like this old kind of janky metal sculpt too.
Oh my god, I love that sculpt. I don't care if it was janky, because you're right. Dude, that guy, the rules were awesome. The model was awesome. I missed him. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and I think the Horsemen, if I remember, and it's been a while since I listened to the early fluff, but I think it was when there was like the event that happened, and I think some of the riders, I can't remember if it was the Pale Rider, but I specifically remember one of the episodes where they basically came out of the crater and started just causing peril and torment all through the world of Malifaux. Pretty much like the end of the world.
Yeah, there was back in V1, I vaguely remember Seamus, Molly, and the Victorias opening some gate to the land of the dead, and they were trying to get the grave spirit out. And in that whole mess, like a whole bunch of little explosions of ether or something like that came out, and creatures that started coming out. That's where we got the avatars. Like, it was just manifestations of things that we were not supposed to have.
For sure.
That's how Hamlin came to be. He was one of the tyrants that actually escaped, and then like all that energy got dissipated. Like, it's a cool story. I need to refresh myself and start reading that again.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of those things where I got to get my hand on some of the old like text of the fluff because I mean the Breachside broadcast is cool, but it takes so long to get kind of through it just because it's like 30, 40 minutes a pop. Um, so I definitely want to go back and actually read it as opposed to listening to 100 episodes or whatever they have for that.
That's actually one of the coolest things about the old books. The story like was most of the books. Like you had the models and stuff, and that was cool. But like
Yeah,
you had like big sections of stories, and you had like mini stories for each model, and that's how you got like Seamus was an evil bastard. Like that guy set on fire an entire train and killed and turned all those people into zombies. Like he
yeah.
was amazing. Rasputina was a badass. Like it, yeah, the story is awesome. So if you can get some of the old books, I highly recommend it for the story alone.
Yeah, and like I was saying, the reason why we mostly wanted to do this because the new Leviticus does have the ability to use these riders, which I mean, yeah, you're all goo gaga about their Dixon, but the main thing also is as when I was a newer player, and even now, when I hear people making content, they kind of almost just I don't know if you've noticed this, Dixon, but they almost offhanded mention the rider sometimes in their list. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm just going to bring the rider here," or "This rider is really good into that." And as a new player, to me, it almost seems interesting to see like, okay, when's the appropriate time to bring these guys? What are the pros and cons? So that's really what we're talking about today.
Well, let's see. Okay, so first things first. I have seen on and off the same type of post, which is newer player comes in and says these guys are broken. You know,
Yeah,
I hate playing against them. And it is. It's like a huge gate or like a hill that newer players have to cross. Like they have to get through that hard path, right?
yeah.
But they're not. They're 11 points, sometimes 13 points, and they only have 9 health. So yeah, there's a lot of points into these models. They're gonna be really good.
Yeah, and and we've talked about this before where if you have something that is, 9 points or higher, they should do a lot of work. That's a lot of investment, right? So it makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, yeah, I understand. The defense 6, willpower 7. They can reduce damage. They're amazing. I get it. But you keep throwing things at them, or you deny them triggers, and they're garbage. Like stun is the worst condition you can put on a rider. I don't care what
Yeah.
anybody says. You put stun on a rider, it's basically death.
Yeah, and so I'm going to talk about a couple of things because all the riders have stuff in common. So we'll talk about the commonality of this, and you can then kind of just hop in there too, Dixon, and say what's really good while we're kind of sharing that. But there's 4 riders. There's one for the Arcanist, one for Guild, one for Neverborn, and then one for the Rezzers. So the other factions, they don't have them. It's only these 4. And they have the same stat line. It's defense 6, willpower 7, movement 7, size 3. So they all have that. They also all have unimpeded because they're basically cavalry,
Yep.
which is always good. They're hard to wound, ruthless, which if you have a keyword that doesn't have a lot of ruthless, that's just a good option to bring in. They all have this cool mechanic. It's called Chasing Fate and Forged in War, or depending on what's called, Chasing Fate and Forged in Mystery, whatever their special thing is. But it all comes down to at the beginning of each turn, you essentially get, I don't know if they call it a token. Yeah, it is a
It
fate
is.
token.
Yep.
And you get 1 for turn 1, turn 2, you get 2, turn 3, you get 3, et cetera, et cetera. And it's related to a suit. So for the Pale Rider, it's a ram. For the Mechanical Rider, it's a tome. And then for the Hooded Rider, it's a mask. And finally, Crow for the Dead Rider. And the idea behind that is they can use those suits and they can use the fate tokens, which counts as a suit in duels. They can use it to reduce damage. And they have, as we're going to see with their bonus actions, there's going to be some really cool effects that these riders can do when they spend those suits essentially for multiples.
No, I mean you're not saying anything like everything about them that you just mentioned is basically their staples.
Yeah.
Their tactical action, their bonus tactical actions are going to be right with me, and their special attribute. Usually, people forget that the tactical action that they have does something in addition to the triggers.
Yeah.
It's happened to me multiple
they have to
times.
have at least one of the triggers though to get the base effect.
Correct, but like they do the effect as well. Like for example, the Death Rider for the longest time. I don't know if he still is considered the best, but for the longest time he was considered the best because his trigger automatically gave everybody 1 damage. Every enemy model within a 6-inch radius, injured in 1 damage. And on top of that, it also did, if you did the first trigger, melee attack within 6 inches. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, so it's the same thing that you just said, Dixon, except for when they errated him in April,
Right.
they took away the 1 damage. So now it's just injured, and yeah.
I mean, but the 1 damage is huge because it's tactical action, so it does damage to incorporeal models, and it gets around a lot of things that say attack. So
Yeah, but it doesn't do the 1 damage anymore, is what I'm saying.
correct. That's what I'm saying. Like that was a
Big
it was a
nerf.
big nerf. Yeah. And they changed another thing. Reap used to say, place the target
Ugh.
into base contact with this model, which
So
was
bad.
enormous. Now you push into base, so that means that if there's any terrain or any models in between you and the model, they stop.
Yeah, and Dixon, I can't tell you how infuriating it was that you would play against like Seamus, and the Dead Rider would take you to Seamus, place you, and then Seamus gets like a free attack.
Yep. Oh, and they place you on the completely opposite end.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was a ridiculous push. Like
It was.
I hit you over here, move you like 8 or 10 inches away from everything you love and hold dear, and then my entire crew is gonna kill you.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at those, the chasing fate, and then using that for each of the riders' revel.
Mhm.
Essentially, the idea is as the game goes on, the more likely they're going to be able to do their powerful effects. So when they revel in creation or revel in death, whatever their ability is, basically the more you spend of that suit, the better effect. So you
Right.
do get the base effect, but then if you spend more of those suits, you get the cooler effect, which some of them are pretty awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh hell yeah.
And they all have really interesting abilities. So I think what we'll do is we'll kind of just go through them, and we'll generally just say what we think about the rider. We think see where we think they kind of fit in, and then just kind of go from there. So yeah, the first one is probably the one that I'm familiar with it, but I'm probably the least familiar, is the mechanical rider. So this is the one that goes for the Arcanist, which it's a cool model. I like the metal horse and the metal woman on top of it.
Mhm.
So Dixon, I don't know about you, but this used to be one that I saw a lot in. I think I saw this a couple times in like a Mayfang crew. I saw it in a Hoffman crew before, to give like the big one that people used to bring her for before she got nerfed.
Right.
Was the Revelation trigger off of Revel in Creation, where basically you can get a model to get a second activation.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Like she got nerfed, and mostly because they were using her to mess with activation order, like
Yeah.
way too well. And right now she still does everything else she does. Like she draws like crazy. Like that's
Mhm.
still a thing that she does. And she at the same time she also drops scrap marker, which is the reason why they were in Mayfang and
Yep.
Hoffman, because scrap markers are still incredibly useful for those crews.
Oh yeah.
But like right now, I don't understand. I see her often. I don't see her as much as before, and I like that. But there are some people that say that she's not worth her points anymore, and I honestly don't see it. Like
Yeah,
she can
and
make
I
you draw
think
like 4 cards.
I think the big thing with that too, yeah, besides the card draw, the Revelation trigger off of her Revel was, before she got nerfed, it was basically pick any model on the board, have them activate again.
Correct.
Whereas now it has to be 8 or less stones, and it
Yeah.
has to be within 12 inches and line of sight. So I mean, there's a lot more caveats there.
And it counts as a chain activation, so you don't also get another. Yeah, you get another activation, but it doesn't eat up an activation from your opponent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like right now, it's still ridiculously powerful in my opinion, because you can get something like a gunsmith, or I think the spiders are 8 points as well.
I think so.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's worth it. I think it's still a fantastic model.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing where I think that Weird has to do this balancing act with these because they are versatiles. So that means any master in the faction can bring them without the tax. And you do have to be careful because you don't want to make it where they're so strong that you see them in every list, right?
Yep. They don't want
So
to pull a what's the name of the horseman like creature in Ten Thunders? He was in every list. Him
Yeah.
and Samurai were in every list.
Yeah, and that's what you kind of want to try to avoid because you want diversity, you want them to have their spots, but I mean, if they're showing up and I've heard a couple of the people that work for Weird as the developers, I've heard them say that if we notice something kicking around too much on the table, chances are we're going to take a look at it and take the Nerf bat to it.
Yeah, I mean, I did mention right now the horseman like creature in Ten Thunders. I think that one got the samurai technically got nerfed, and I think it's a good nerf because you still see them, you just don't see them enough. The horseman like creature, that guy, I never see him anymore. Like he's to me, he's probably dead in ditch somewhere, and nobody knows.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen him?
I have not. Never. I didn't know it was a thing until Wilson told me.
Right? It's insane. Like I was amazing, and yeah, I think that they took the nerf bat a little too hard on it.
Now, Dixon, you are definitely a bringer of the horsemen and of the riders. So, how often are you always 100% using Revel, or do you find yourself also doing Ride with Me?
Ride with Me. First turn, almost definitely. The only exceptions is if I'm playing the whatchamacallit, the Hooded Rider, and I have a way to actually get to my opponent's side of the board and get him as an alpha strike, then I use him to look at my opponent's hand. So I have my rider clumped up with all the other models and just try to look at every card in their hand.
Yeah.
And then I just go for it. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna go attack that guy.
Yeah, and I think early game you are using the Ride with Me ability more. Also, just because. Especially when I was playing Pandora with Neverborn, I mean, I would use the rider to ride her up. That way, now she's in the middle of the board turn one, as opposed to being super far back.
Yup. I mean,
And
it's
good.
actually one of the best things about the game is Ride with Me.
Yeah,
it is.
That's why I think Gracie is the Bayou horseman because she has Ride with Me.
And she's 8 points. That's insane. She's such a good model, and she's only 8 points.
Yeah, but getting back to the riders.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, the mechanical rider definitely got touched with the Nerf bat. I think it was well deserved, though.
Yep.
And like you said, I think if you have a crew that wants a lot of ski markers, scrap markers, I don't know if there's a lot of Arcanist masters that use corpses, but that's where you're going to see, I think, the mechanical rider a lot.
Yep. Just so you, I think she's still amazing for research mission because you can drop a corpse marker as one of the third markers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good
anywhere
point.
within 6 inches of her. So that's the reason why you would want to drop a corpse marker.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Research mission for some crews and models is just almost an auto take.
Yep.
It's just good.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good mention. The next one that we have is actually the one that I just started painting. So I've been telling people, I think after this next tournament, I'm going to play some Guild until the newer boxes start coming out, and then I'll kind of bounce back to Bayou. But the Pale Rider is the one that I'm working on for Guild. And this guy got nerfed, but he's still super good. I think a lot of Guild people just take this thing just because he's so good.
Yeah, no, dude, it's really hard not to make a list and want to put the Pale Rider. I'm not going to lie.
Well, yeah, because he has a 12-inch gun, so his melee attack is also a 12-inch gun because he has Gunfighter. It puts out Injured and Staggered, which is huge. And then his Revel is just ridiculous. It puts out this 6-inch heal 1 or heal 2 if you're engaged. And then it also puts out shielding. It can get rid of injured on your end. It can do 2 damage that's irreducible and put out burning. And then finally the big one, which is I think the banana boat one, where Hatred Unleashed, just every friendly gets to either charge or attack. It's just go.
Yep. But honestly, Devastation is so damn good. I'm surprised it's the second one.
Devastation is good. I mean,
Yeah.
2 irreducible. I mean, since it's irreducible, it's just 2. If you have a couple of enemy models that are just about to die, just go up there, pop it, and they're dead.
Yep. I love this model with Sonya Crid because of that. Like, it's such a good ability.
Yeah, and it puts out burning too.
Mm-hmm. It's 2 for 1. Like, this model is so good, I don't care that I have to pay 2 points more to have him instead of having Sam. Sam is just not good enough.
Yeah.
Nowhere near.
Yeah, it's just this. If you're playing Guild, this is one of those riders where even though it got nerfed recently, actually it didn't get nerfed recently. It was 2 years ago about now, but
Yeah.
it still gets brought all the time, and then you'll see him throw like a lead line code on it, and now it's really not going down easy.
This is one of this and the Dead Rider. They're the 13-point riders basically that are just worth it. They're just so damn good at their job.
Well, yeah, and I mean, this is also a good model where it can help support and put out conditions and shoot, but it's also a good model for like carrying the ball in like ley lines or just any kind of like scheme running in the middle of your crew. It's good support. It's a super support model, and it just puts out so much pressure on your opponent.
Yeah, it's an 11-point model. The fact that he does everything, I think it's into the cost. But 9 wounds, and if you stun him, he is effed. He is just straight.
Well, and I think with the new titles, we are seeing a lot more ability to put out stunned. I don't know if you've noticed that, Dixon, but I have.
Yep, I saw that. I saw that a lot. I don't know.
I've been playing the new Ophelia, and trick shot giving out stunned. I'm just like, yes, please.
Yeah, I was not happy to find that out.
I did. So what was I playing? I was playing the next kid. So, the Cadmus 2 list.
Right.
And they have that stupid trigger where it's like, oh, you get a parasite token. But I shot all 3 of them first with Ophelia, and I was like, you're stunned, you're stunned, you're stunned.
And it's not a defense. It's, I believe it's movement and trick shot.
Yes, it is.
So it's even more annoying because, like, oh, okay, I hit you with this thing that doesn't have any defensive triggers anywhere in the game, and now you're stunned, and everybody's going to shoot you now. Good game.
Yeah, and it's just you just have to hit. It's not even like, oh, you're damaged by this. Just, oh, you're just have stunned.
Yeah. It's like, oh, so tie? Good game.
The riders hate seeing stunned.
My God.
And yeah, I think that's another thing where it's not even... So you saying they only have 9 boxes, that's also a big deal for things like if you have, hazardous terrain, right? Because they ignore severe terrain, but not hazardous.
Yeah. They hate pings. Anything that pings them, they hate it.
Yeah, elite mod. So and this is a good point for newer players, like we were saying, Dixon, that if you're getting frustrated because you have to face these riders and you're like, oh, they're so good, try bringing stuff where it's like, okay, take a damage for this. Okay, take a damage for that. Like if you can put like vent steam up, if you have that ability, and then they come in hard and they're just, sure, they're going to do stuff, but each time they do, they're taking a point of damage.
Yeah. And the only one that, out of the 4 riders, the only one that's a construct is the mechanical rider, and it's in the name. So, for a fact that you can't use it against that one.
That's not going to work. Yeah, so that's the Pale Rider. Definitely a good take if you're a guild player. Some of these new masters that are coming out with the titles are going to really enjoy seeing that in its list. But the one that we both love, Dixon, that Hooded Rider, that I love the look of it. I love what it does. It's got this great sword and going to cleave the hell out of you.
Yeah, but let's be honest, he's the fair rider. Like, I love him, but he's the fair rider.
He's good, but before the mechanical rider got nerfed, I would say that. I think he's actually better than the mechanical rider now, if you ask me.
I don't know, man. Drawing 4 cards is really damn good.
You're not wrong.
I'm just saying, okay, I have this 13 in my hand, hit you. I use 4 of these tomes, and now I draw 4 cards. GG.
Yeah, but I mean, you got to admit, when you do the moonlit charge, and you get about 3, 4, 5 models with that, it's good.
Oh my lord! Every single time, it's like The only one that I never use, and I should look up for reasons to use it, is Clouds Over Moon. Every single thing about that ability is amazing.
Yeah.
With the hazardous terrain, whenever it becomes like, oh, I can hit everybody with hazardous terrain. I'm the first activation, and they can't kill the rider. Okay, have fun. Like that's
and if they do, they're going to pay for it.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, they can choose not to do any actions, but
Yeah, and there's certain matchups where that greatsword, because if you don't charge, you get a positive to the damage flip, and then it has the ability to put blast out. And it's good. And I think actually it doesn't even get drop normal, doesn't it? It's like 2 inches away you can drop it.
It's in your melee. It has to be within 2 inches of yourself and line of sight of yourself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like it's basically it increases melee range to like 4 inches because you can still hit things outside of your 2 inch melee.
Yeah, and the greatsword, I mean, it's not the best damage, but 3, 4, 5 is still good.
Oh hell yeah! Especially because it's a great sword, meaning it has a plus flip on damage when you charge, and you have right with me. So you can do, for example, something that I'd love to do is you can do Moonlit Charge or right with me, and just be in melee with somebody and just take 2 swings, or you take the swing from the Moonlit Charge and then you hit the one person 2 more times. That's 3 attacks with a plus on damage. That's still really really strong.
Yes, it is. I mean, I've seen it where actually somebody played the Hooded Rider and they came into my line and they got an attack on Maw, the little ass. Yep. It killed 2 Soulstone miners, and then I think it killed one more thing. It was pretty brutal. I think it killed my Bokor.
Oh my god! I mean, the beautiful thing with Moonlit Charge is after you finish all the attacks, you can place them on the very last person that you choose the order of the attacks. So once you do that, then you can wild swing like 1 or 2 more times.
Yeah, so in that situation, what he did is he basically killed the 2 Soulstone miners, attacked the little lass, and then teleported after he attacked Maw.
Oh, jeez. So, I am nowhere near you. Wow.
I was like, okay, good stuff. Yeah. I think the downside of the Hooded Rider is mostly that he doesn't really have a ranged attack like you see with the Pale Rider.
Yep.
And the Chain Spear for the Mechanical Rider. So the fact is you're not doing much damage or interacting with the opponent until you get into the fight. So I think he fits in better with a lot of those alpha crews that wants to kind of get up the board. Mm-hmm. I know I used to bring him a lot with Pandora, like I said, but that was just me.
Right, but he's also in the faction that you can give him fast, you can push him, you can obey him. There's so many little things you can do to the rider in Neverborn. It's insane. Like with what's her face, Soraya, you can give him fast and obey him. So like he can be up the board and have 3 actions plus a 0. Like that's insane.
Yeah, you can bring him with Lucius, and Lucius can do a bunch of work with him.
You can exactly. That's another thing I forgot. That's right. Well, Lucius cannot obey him because he's not an elite, a mimic, or a minion. But
yeah, I was speaking more about the lawyers and the changelings.
There you go. That I was gonna say, like the lawyers could push him around. That's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And then we got our last one, which this is the Dirty Boy, the Dead Rider, which just recently also got errated. So it's not, and a lot of people, I don't know, you play more with kind of the larger community there, Dixon, but I will say that just local kind of tournaments and local just playing like Chris, when this got nerfed, I saw it way less. I don't really see this too much anymore.
Same. Because the thing is, that the Dirt Rider, the thing that made him amazing was that extra point of damage. Yeah. And the placing the model.
Yeah, the reap trigger off his scythe.
So they touch both of those things. So like this is the rider has been nerfed the most technically, and I still think that he's probably the best still. Maybe I don't know. Maybe the Pale Rider's winning now.
I mean, if you ask me, I'm looking at the Pale Rider. What do you like specifically? Even though those 2 things got nerfed, what do you still like about it?
Dude, still the injury's really good, and the spinning scythe is still insane. Like
just attacking something 6 inches away.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, so here's turn 2. I have 3, regardless of what. Like I already have the 3 unless you attack me and I had to like lower the damage by 1 or something. I should have
Yeah, but then you just
tokens.
then you can just cheat in a crow.
Correct. Like there's so many little things you can do to actually get the 3 sides. So very easily you can like hit somebody with Revel in Death, Spinning Side, and then like charge them with the normal side, or you can charge then Revel in Death. Like there's so many little things you can do with the Dead Rider.
Well, I also think Soulfire is actually in a lot of matchups because there's a lot of hard to kill out there. There's a lot of demise abilities out there. So the fact that he can just 2 damage if they die, they ignore that crap. But then also gets a soul stone for each enemy model he kills.
Yes, and I forgot the game that we were playing, but I was playing a game again. I don't know if it was Seamus or not. The important thing is I was playing Hamlin, and there was a lot of rats and the stolen. And the Death Rider came into the middle, did Soulfire.
Oh, that's so bad.
Holy crap, dude. He killed like 7 models.
I bet, man.
It was
Because I mean,
nuts.
and the crazy thing is, like, you want the stolen to die technically, and you want other models to die, but you get no effect off that.
He didn't get any demise, so he didn't get any blight.
And you gave him like 7 soul stones.
Yep. It was like the most nuts, dream crush moment I've had probably playing this game.
So I don't know about you, but when something like that happens, I don't necessarily get mad, but I just look at the play. I actually did this with Chris the other day, but I look at the other player and I'm just like, all right, let's re-rack this. I'm not playing this out.
I think I conceded like immediately after that. Like I said, I don't remember the master, but I remember that moment. I was playing Hamlin. He did that, and I was like, I'm done. I'm just done.
So the last game that I did that with Chris, I've been playing Ulix 1 because I've been trying to get Ulix reps because I think he's a good fit for a lot of the break the line pools that you see out there.
Yeah.
So I was playing him and Chris dropped English Ivan. And right off the bat, I mean, Ulix is willpower 6 and Old Major's willpower 6. So in my head, I'm just like, well, fuck. I mean, I got to try to avoid getting a Brock Inspector thrown up my, butt. But if anybody that's played English Ivan, it's hard to avoid that because they're so damn mobile.
Yeah.
So turn 2, I end up getting a Brock Inspector. A lot of my piglets are killed. Old Major's mostly dead, and the Brock Inspector's right base to base with Old Major and Ulix. And I was just like, let's just re-rack this. I don't want to play this.
Right?
Well, because the pigs can't, when there's a Brock Inspector out, you can't fight out of that because the pigs depend on killing and healing and getting the, ether fill triggered to heal. But you can't heal next to the Brock Inspector. And the Brock Inspector is doing irreducible damage. And it's just, there's nothing to play out there.
It's just infuriating because like you have to, you want to play with no models that have willpower 6 or more. Like you want to.
That's why, generally speaking, if I play against explorers, I'm dropping either Zip or I'm playing Maw.
Yeah.
Because both of those lists, I can build a list without willpower 6.
Yeah, it's just very painful. Like, and you would think that pigs would have like defense higher than their willpower, but for some ungodly reason, most of the pigs that I see are like willpower 5 or 6 and then defense 4.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why don't you just reverse that?
Yeah, and if you're playing one of these riders, you're willpower 7, so you can probably expect to see a Brock Inspector.
Yeah. Because like Ulix himself, if I remember correctly, both forms of him are willpower 6, right?
Yeah, he's a 6.
Yeah, that's
why to me, and that's one of those things when I play explorers, you automatically got to put English Ivan in the back of your head, and you got to put Cadmus in the back of your head, and you got to put Jedsa in the back of your head.
True.
And you got to look at all those and say, okay, there are certain models that I cannot bring because of those 3 masters.
Yeah. I mean, even when you do know them, like if you don't know how to play your models well, he's still going to run circles around you. Like I had I would say a perfect matchup when I was playing with Bass, and I just didn't know what I was doing, and I got crushed by Ivan because I just didn't know what I was doing. So people have to play that rep. You have to play into Ivan multiple times to try to get the reps in to beat him. I think he's one of the best masters in the game right now, if not the best.
I agree with that. So looping this back around, Dixon, with the Dead Rider, is there still a couple of masters in Rezzers that you think the Dead Rider is getting brought in a lot with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't bring him with, say, I don't know.
I mean, I think Seamus still wants him for sure.
Yeah, I think actually I can see McMorning also. McMorning, the first one, definitely, because McMorning is super mobile, but he's not Pathfinder. You know, he doesn't ignore terrain or any of that stuff. So you can ride with me with the Dead Rider, and you can still do some, scheming with the Dead Rider while McMorning is hunting down people.
Yeah, and I do think that also the ability to summon in a mindless zombie with the Dead Rider isn't useless. I mean, you can use that for, I think McMorning likes zombies and corpses, and I think there's one or two other masters that like those things as well.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think, but once again, I think this just puts it in a good spot where it's like you're going to see it with certain masters for a very specific reason, as opposed to it's just so good you can bring it anytime.
I mean, Reap and Scythe is still insanely good to prison a model.
Oh, you're not wrong. Yeah, you can just totally kidnap a model with that.
Yep. It's like, oh, you have a model at the edge of the rest of your crew. Okay, I'm going to charge it. Let's stay within 2. Put 2 pros, and now I push 4 inches away from your crew, and then I push the model into base to base. So now I have 6
that
inches.
Spinning
plus,
scythe.
Yeah. 6 inches plus base plus whatever space you have between that model at the edge of your crew and your crew.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty ridiculous. I mean, and then all of a sudden you're just staring at the middle of the crew and you got to either have some tricky way to get it out of there or just kiss it goodbye.
Yep, it's like that song, staring at and I'm staring down the barrel of a 45.
Yeah, except for it's a
giant
Skeletor motherfucker.
Exactly. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah, and that's why with Seamus it's even worse because you're dragging them in, but also if you end within like a melee of one of Seamus's models, now you're also getting a melee attack from them.
Yes. Oh, also that's another thing. Like once you do the scythe attack, let's say you charge and you have an action left, but you haven't used your right with me yet. You can now use your right with me to get out completely, and then just have Seamus shoot it as well, or position yourself. Like there's so much mobility with a Dead Rider that even though he has no range attacks, he is just insanely good.
I'm gonna play the rank game with you.
Yeah. And
this can be biased. It can be just like, hey, I like this one because of this reason, or it can be factual. I don't care. It's all your opinion. So which rank these riders into which ones you think are to the top and to the bottom?
Well, I will have to do it mechanically and aesthetically. Because I aesthetically, number one, the Hooded Rider, 100%.
Yeah, I love that model.
He is amazing looking, but mechanically, it's really hard to choose between the Dead Rider and the Pale Rider. They're just really, really good. I would have to say the Pale Rider because I have yet to it's really hard for me to find any reason not to bring him with Sonya Crit. It's so hard.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think, I've been helping Chris Yoon play Dashel, and in that list where Dashel is a killing machine, you can bring one of the mounted guard for the ride with me, but the fact that you want to be in there doing damage, just the healing and the extra attacks and charges, this Pale Rider does everything that Dashel 2 wants to do.
Dude, on top of that, the Pale Rider also staggers at range, which is a thing that Dashel really wants. Dashel wants them to not be faster than him.
Yeah, and he wants them to also be injured so he can murder them more.
That's also true.
Yeah, it's definitely good, and it can put out shielded, and there's a lot of stuff in there that can help protect your killing masters in that as well. I would also put Pale Rider probably at the top as far as probably the best as far as mechanically.
Yeah.
I do like aesthetically the looks of the Hooded Rider, but I'm actually painting the Pale Rider ups, and I'm just like, man, this model's cool.
Yeah, no, if aesthetically would be number 1 Hooded, number 2 Pale, number 3 Mechanical, and then finally the Dead Rider. I don't
So the
really
the
like.
dead ri Yeah, I was gonna say the dead rider. When you look at it being like this skeleton on an undead, mare,
Right.
it should be really sweet looking. But
Yeah.
when you see the model on the table, it looks very frail.
Yeah, he looks like he's missing half his body, and not in a cool way.
Yeah, it looks like there was a rider there that got blasted apart, and the skeleton's missing pieces.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean,
And everybody that has that model has told me that the arms and the scythe always fall off.
he's got to be a pain in the ass to put together too. Holy
I'd
crap.
assume. I never did it.
Yeah, no, I had the metal one. The metal one looks awesome in my opinion. Still not better than the other two that I mentioned. Maybe looks better than the mechanical rider. Who knows? But that being said, the Dead Rider is still so damn good. Mechanically, he's still second best. So like, regardless of what you think about the model, you might want to have to buy it anyway. Like he's just that damn good.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing I will say that, and once again, this kind of caters to newer players, but also people that are just debating on when to bring these riders. I think that something that you want to think about when to bring the riders in general is if you have a slower, not a slower, but even just average kind of speed, but your master likes to be in the fight, or they like to be in the middle, they like to be very specifically in a spot. The riders are good just for getting your master, getting that beat stick up the board where it needs to be. And then, like I was saying, they're also just good at kind of in ley lines, just holding on to the ball and kind of supporting from a distance, especially early game. That's something you can use them for to great effect as well.
I mean, ley lines in every single. If you think about it hard enough, you're gonna find a use for them in every single strategy. In break the line, they could move, or they can right with me, activate the thingy, or activate the thingy, right with me, activate the thingy again. If they started in base-to-base contact with the marker. In corrupted ley lines, they can move from point to point without the help of nobody. They just straight up go all 5 of the points, and nobody needs to help them. In turf war, same thing. They can kill somebody, undo the point, and tap it.
Yeah, and that's definitely what I was using the Pale Rider for, is just picking off models at range to neutralize some of those turf war markers.
Yep. And then symbols of authority, super easy. They're so flipping fast. They can go to the other side, cap a thing, and then move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're crazy good, but they're also, again, 11 points.
Yeah.
They're not cheap.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing when you're bringing these is there needs to be a purpose with what you're doing, and they need to be scoring you points.
Mm.
Like they need to get you victory points to make it worth that. So I think if you're not getting at least 2 VPs when you bring these models, whether it's indirectly or not, you don't need to bring them then. If they're not helping you score the points to actually win, that's 1 or 2 models you could bring something else in.
Yes. Also, like the pain of losing a rider turns 1 or 2 before they even did any work is just damn near unconscionable. Like I've done it to people have done it to me. It does.
Yeah, if you make a mistake and you lose this early, it'll hurt you.
Oh my god, it's like a toilet bowl after that. Just everything starts draining down real fast.
Yeah. All right, Dixon. Well, I think one thing that people would be sad if we didn't talk about was this Leviticus, the Pariah of Blood. Now, if people are not familiar, like we talked about, the new title for Leviticus can now use the riders, the horsemen. So he has his amalgam keyword and now horseman, and he cannot bring out a keyword though. So
he can only bring versatile and in keyword. That's it. Man, it's so cool looking.
Looking at the riders with this, I think a lot of people are excited about it, but do you think that you can compete with that with this new Leviticus and the riders?
What do you mean by compete? I'm actually
like, I mean, is it going to be just this fun kind of like, oh yeah, cool, I have some riders, or is it going to be good enough where you can be a little competitive with it?
I think you can be competitive with roll 4, but I think most people are going to try to like min-max it with 2 riders.
I think 2 is kind of your sweet spot, if you ask me.
No, but like, honest to God, I believe that all 4 riders are still going to be a competitive list because it's like 44 points plus you get 6 points for whatever you need, and Leviticus can summon the abominations by killing the waves. So like there's gameplay there. You could also do 3 riders if you feel like one of the riders is not necessary.
Looking at it, Dixon, he is also a horseman now himself. I'm really curious to see what his mounted model looks like.
I mean, if it's anything like the Avatar, I think he looks badass.
Okay.
Just saying.
Well, we will have to see, but yeah, he has a lot of this. He has actually the exact same stats.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is this? I mean, you've looked at this because I know you've been ruling over this, Dixon. So what is this? What does he actually do?
Funny enough, he's really good at support. That's like his special thing. He's really good at support. He moves things. He draws cards. He like gives buffs. Because if I remember correctly, I found a way here for him to give out tokens. I know that he uses tokens a lot. Let me see. I know. Let's see. Friendly. There. Riders of Fate. He needs a 5, and another friendly horseman within line of sight must discard a Fate token. Target gains a Fate token. So you can discard Fate tokens for yourself, and then give another Fate token to somebody else. So technically,
and you can do that twice if you get the trigger.
Exactly right. So technically speaking, you can do the scythe thing from the Death Rider turn 1. Because you can like discard, say for example, you can discard a token from the Hooded Rider. When you discard a token, you can give it to Leviticus. Then Leviticus can give a token to the Death Rider. Then when he does it again because of the quick reflexes, then he can discard his own Fate token and give it to the Dead Rider. Now the Dead Rider has 3 tokens. That's insane. Turn 1, he can do 3 attacks on something.
Well, yeah, I also like that he has the ability, and this is good turn 1 setup, but Soul Harvest has a trigger to me, which, I mean, he can just push a rider up to their move towards him. So, yeah, that's just getting even more movement out of it, where that dead rider now is 6 inches up the board. It can do a 6-inch melee attack after it moves.
Yep. And for example, say you have 3 riders and then support, right? One of the support could be the scavenger, and the scavenger can push that rider even further.
Scavengers are good.
So now you have a model that's technically 11 inches up the board. So the dead rider, 11 inches up the board, with 3 Fate tokens on turn 1.
Yeah.
That sounds insane to me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, and it is going to be this kind of, the only thing that I'm thinking about with this is this would have definitely been a really strong master into GG1 where there was, what was it, Recover Evidence and then Public Enemies.
Yeah.
Like Leviticus would have been really good into, and his first version was for sure.
Oh.
But yeah, this is an elite crew that is going to be good at those elite scheme pools.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so many little things. Like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to like get a lot of games with him because you're gonna have a very small crew. There's not that much room for an error in his crew.
Yeah.
And I think the best version of him is gonna be played mid range, like middle of the board. He's gonna be just supporting people. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I'm going to love to see it on the board, but like you said, it's going to be very interesting to see how people are going to play it, because you are going to need to get your reps, because I mean, essentially you're only going to have like 5 or 6 models depending on how you build it. Well, I guess you have the waifs, but they don't count, right?
You can kill them to draw cards, and then you can summon, if I remember correctly, you can summon an amalgam. Yeah, you can summon an amalgam with a 5 of crows with the Riders of Fate. You can summon more waves. You can summon abominations. So I think it's gonna be fine. I think you're just gonna have to play him enough that you can build that cycle of like, okay, now I summon waves, now I draw cards, now I do these actions in this order. It's gonna be a big super hyper combo. I think it's just gonna be like, okay, what do I need to do now? Execute.
Yeah, this is a crew where you can't just waste actions. This is going to be a crew where you have to be very purposeful in your actions. You can't just be like, oh, there's a mindless zombie, let me attack that.
For sure. For sure. You can't waste actions. You're going to start losing hard.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I'm super pumped to see this out in the wild whenever that decides to drop.
I'm trying to figure out like Malice. I don't know if you read the actions at all, but like Malice says he can declare any number of different triggers. I wonder how good that's gonna be.
So essentially, the way that I read that is like, oh, I threw a ram into that. I'm going to get rejuvenate, and I'm going to spend a fate token to also injure you. So there's going to be moments where that's going to be super bad. You're gonna get a feel bad off of that sometimes.
Yeah, or you can do something like, okay, I hit you, and I have a tome and I'm gonna put in a mask. So now I draw a card, and on top of that, I'm gonna move 3 inches.
Yeah, the only thing that at least it's only an inch. At least it's not a 2 inch melee.
I mean, the spell magic healing, also good. Getting pass tokens, also good.
Yeah, I think that the key is for. I think Leviticus is one of those masters for this crew specifically, where he is there's going to be no perfect time to activate him. Like, he's not going to be an early activation master or a late activation. He's going to depend on, okay, I need this for my crew now. I need to activate Levi now.
Yep.
And I need to adjust this and heal this and do damage to that and draw this many cards. And it's going to be, you're going to need to pilot this very well. It's not going to be easy to pilot.
I think the most interesting thing is that they gave him the same weakness that they gave all the writers. Stun fucks him. Like, stun straight F's this guy.
Yep.
So you have to be very aware.
He wants his triggers.
He definitely wants his triggers.
Well, because he can't, and he can't, because dispel magic's an attack action. He can't get rid of the condition on himself.
Right. Like, he has no way, dude. He doesn't have shrug off. He doesn't have any other way. Somebody else has to do it for him.
That's a pretty. I mean, you're right. I'm just trying to think. I haven't played Outcast in forever, so I'm not sure. They do have models that can get rid of conditions. I'm struggling to forget which ones those are.
What you would call it, the guy with the giant hammer, Johan.
Yeah. He's not versatile though.
Yeah, he is.
He is not, is he?
If I remember correctly, he is versatile. He's versatile infamous. I'm about to look it up too, but like, I'm fairly sure.
You're a liar.
Why would I be a liar? Johan Greedy. Come on, phone.
He is versatile.
Boom. Versatile, infamous.
Well, that might be the only time you see him.
Damn.
Zip does not bring him.
No, many people don't. I honest to God, that episode that we were talking about things to fix it, make Rebel yell a pulse. You start seeing, make Rebel yell a pulse and give him that ability that you wanted, where he can hang out to something that has flying.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, get your hands off of me. There you go.
Get your hands off me.
I really, really want to play Leviticus, but right now I'm still playing with Guild, getting my butt kicked. I'm up to 13 losses.
I told you I'm going to relieve you from that butt kicking. I can go ahead and take on the Guild.
As much as I said that I was going to go to like Neverborn, my dad raised no bitches, so
yeah, I mean,
real hard, dude.
So Chris has been playing the Dashel 2. I played Horsement 2 the other day. Horsement 2 is a beast, man. That dude is cool.
Dude, he hits like a truck.
Well, he also gets shielding now, so
yeah,
it's like, oh, cool, we're armor 2 and we have shielding. It's like, suck it, nerds.
Yeah, I mean, he's armor 3 in Guild.
And well, the funny thing, right, is I didn't think I was going to like bulldoze on him that much because, it's no 12-inch push like the emissary, the lucky emissary. Yeah. But it actually helped me get into a lot of scoring positions. And I think bulldoze allows me to score, 2 points in one turn with him because I ended up getting research mission because I pushed out of it and I picked up a symbol because I was able to push out with bulldoze. And since it wasn't a disengage, I was able to interact with it. So it was good. And I got to remove some stupid corpse markers that, Dashel likes.
If I remember correctly, doesn't bulldoze also like ignore terrain and shit?
Yep. And models.
I mean, that's insane. It gives you extra inches of movement and it allows you to ignore a whole bunch of stuff in the way.
It's pretty good. Well, and not only that, if you get the construct pylon marker, if one or more markers were removed by the action, create a pylon marker within 3. So you get to put another pylon marker out with it.
That's true. That's true. Because if I remember, also it doesn't care if the markers are destructible. It just takes them out of the game, right?
Correct. It's the same thing that the emissary has, where it just removes markers.
But it's 6 inches instead of 12.
It's not 6; it's 5.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, it's better than 4, what he was in his first, iteration.
True.
So Dixon, looking at these horsemen, I definitely think that they're good for the game. I think Weird has done a good job of trying to make them strong, but still balance them where they're not auto bring super broken.
They technically had to nerf the first 3. Just saying.
Yeah.
The Hooded Rider has never needed a nerf, so I think they hit the nail right there. Like they got a perfect model in the Hooded Rider.
Yeah, the Hooded Rider is good. It definitely has its place. There's crews that like bringing it and seeing it more.
Yep.
The other ones, I think they've been put in a better spot, but I still think the Pale Rider is good enough where the guild can pretty much bring it whenever the fuck they want.
Yep. The Hooded Rider absolutely loves going with Pandora. Not gonna lie.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you stunned my Hooded Rider. No, you didn't. You just moved that stun right off the model.
Just move that bitch.
Yep. It's like, oh, that's adorable. No. For everybody, if you have never played against Pandora likes to remove conditions. Stun is the condition that they can remove. Everybody in the crew can remove. They just have to target it with an attack. Just saying.
Yeah, was there anything else, Dixon, that you wanted to say about the Riders, or you think we got it in a pretty good spot right there?
Yeah, I would ask Weird to take a look again at Yamasiko or whatever the name is.
Technically, it's not a horseman.
Technically. Come on, man. That thing needs something. It needs Jesus. Like, it's really, really bad right now. I forgot the name of that thing. Nobody uses it.
It is. I'll pull it up. It's down here.
I found it. Yasunori.
Yeah.
It was the best rider without being a rider. And then they nerfed it into the ground, and you never see it again. So, for the love of God, please, Weird, take a look at it. Like, please. It's
because it looks like a cool model.
Dude, it's a giant dragon with a guy with 2 swords in the back. That's amazing.
Okay, and if you want a horseman or a rider model for Bayou, you just need to take Gracie.
Yeah, either that or your your emissary. Your emissary is amazing.
I'd still take Gracie.
Right, you don't have ride with me on your emissary, don't you?
No,
he's just fast as fuck.
Yeah, he just goes.
Dude,
he can just go. Movement. Yeah, he can just go a solid 24 inches in a just straight line.
Christ. Oh, and allows you to cheat from the top of the deck. Because why not?
Dude, that is so awesome. And I'll tell you what, if you want to see frustration, it's something like out of a Looney Tunes cartoon where you're literally running over your enemy's entire crew, removing all their markers, and they're just chasing it around like it's a fucking Looney Tune, cartoon.
Isn't it like Armor 2, Defense 6?
It's at least Armor 1.
I was so mad the first time I had to chase that stupid thing around because, like, I thought, okay, I can just double walk, walk once, charge it, hit it once, it'll be fine. And then next turn he turns around, walks right through the person that did the attack, and then it was like nothing got done.
It's Armor 1.
But it's Defense 6 though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that part.
And it's move 8. It's really good.
Yeah.
Well, once again, it's 10 stones, but it's worth the 10 stones.
Oh, for sure. Again, like, look at the riders. Oh, also, this thing is 10 health. 10 stones, defense 6, 10 health. Because I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but he's willpower 5. I'm like, he has more health, is harder to kill than the rider, and hits harder.
Well, and honestly, the Ore of Luck keeps him alive more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've done a duel and I'm losing it. I really don't have much in my hand, and I just like, all right, we'll do the off top, and I win the duel because of that. It happens more than you think it should.
Joseph, once I got hit by Dazzling Flourish with the that's not good. I was like, that was a low blow when I got hit by that. I'm like, really? He does that? Because you look at the model and you never think that he's gonna do that.
Yeah, it's I was looking at maybe doing that the last game I played. I was like, is there a situation here I want to slow somebody down?
And
And I,
stagger.
well, yeah, and I was well, if you get the trigger, but and I was just looking at it and I'm like, nope, I got to eat up the board. Let's go. Don't have time for that.
No, I got hit by that, and then he steamrolled right over me, and then my model was just completely stupefied in that corner. It's like I lost the
It's
game.
like, durr.
Yeah, I was like, I can't move, and if I move, it's like garbage. Like I don't know what to do now. Like this is it. Game over. Oh, this model is so amazing, and
Yeah.
he's 1 point less than the riders.
Yep.
So if anybody
Pretty good.
thinks, yeah, if anybody is looking for ways to kill riders, look to your 9 and 10 point models, or look to your really really strong minions. You have ways to kill riders.
So speaking of, and this will be the last thing we talk about, Dixon,
Yeah.
but I think we would be, or I should say, I would be, performing some kind of faux pas here if I didn't try to mention this a bit. But what are your opinions of the jockeys who are the Bayou racers?
I want a master.
You want a master jockey?
I want a master jockey because like right now they're hilarious.
I mean, not only are they hilarious, but they're actually pretty damn good.
I'm surprised that Fluffernutter is as good as he is. Not gonna lie.
Well, the funny thing is, I mean, we were actually talking about this in the Rage Quit Wire Discord with Mark, where he was like, well, isn't that just kind of a tax for, if you're bringing Fluffernutter into Whizbang? And I was like, yeah, but he does like so many other good things as well.
Yeah. I mean, Carrot Cake is actually really, really good against enemies.
Dude, the
too.
Carrot Cake Quake is so good.
Dude, it's 1 damage, no flips. It just happens. It's a tactical action, and it just happens.
Well, see, and people that don't play Bayou, I don't think realize that, but there are a ton of Bayou models that want to hurt other models.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing. Like that is something that legitimately Bayou likes to do, not just in Whizbang. There are other models that also like to injure other models.
It's super, super dumb. Like they're so efficient at it too.
Well, and plus, it's also just good if there's just like, oh, there's like 2 models almost dead. Let me just kill them off with 1 damage. I also like the pull from a hat though. Just shuffle, discard, draw a card. But also the broken down rifle for the magic act is pretty decent. I don't hate that.
Huh.
You basically choose a marker within 2 of the target, which can be friendly, it can be enemy, whatever. Place the chosen marker anywhere within 2 of the target. Models within 1 of the placed marker suffer 1 damage. So once again, obviously Whizbang, this helps you out. But this is another way just to place a marker, do a point of damage, and move on down the road.
Okay. You stupefied me with the pull from a hat, by the way.
Why?
Because I didn't know he had that.
Oh.
It's like,
Yeah, you got a discard. It's like, oh, I have like 3 severes in there. Let's shuffle it up and see if we get one.
yeah. Or the initiative flip. Because you can attack, hit, do the damage, shuffle, and then you got like, 5 cards? So you have a chance to get the initiative flip back into the deck.
Oh, yeah.
Plus whatever
sure.
you use to attack with. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's the dude's riding this, rabbit. It's just, I like Fluffernutter a lot. I think actually, though, since I've been playing Sui and the pig keywords, I think Bo Peep is actually really good for Sui. Ulix, I think, I'm not going to say she's an auto include with Ulix, but she's pretty damn good.
Yeah, she heals.
Yeah, I was going to say, for everything you damage, and I think it's just damage. I don't even, yeah, it's damage. It's not even killed. You get to heal up to 2.
Yep.
And then straight up, the race is on, where you get to basically push whatever's within 3 of her, just 3 inches in any direction.
Yep.
That's just a huge, just send the pigs, just get them down there.
Yep. Another funny thing is, technically, this is going to be a situational thing, but Pork Roast Rodeo, that trigger, that actually can save you in a lot of places. Because you can push models around, eat ski markers that your opponent needed, and then heal from it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you play against some of those crews where they're dropping a ton of them. That's going to be one that'll really it'll hurt your opponent.
Yep.
And she's a henchman, so she can stone for those triggers.
So you have either, and it's auto suited, so you either push people 5 inches up the board, or you get to remove
Well,
speed markers.
I mean, jockey models can push 5. Regular models push 3.
Oh, did not see that jockey part. Well, 3
Yeah.
inches is not bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 3's good, and then I mean, yeah, I don't know how often the jockey thing's gonna come in. I haven't messed around with it in my head enough to think if I'm gonna bring more than one jockey in a list. But yeah, Bo Peep's definitely going into Sui when I get that box.
Yeah, well, because of ramming speed, you can always pick the suit on these guys, and I think both Rampage and Hogwash Slosh on Bo Peep is really, really good because he can technically she's 40 millimeters, so you can charge one of your models, hit them from 2 inches away, and then place them. If I remember correctly, 2 inches away from you can
2
place
inches
them
of this model.
exactly. So that's like
So you can charge past them
Yep,
and place them on the front side of you,
exactly right. Imagine
which is super good.
Yeah, imagine doing it with like Alphonse or no, let's do something like big and beefy. The whiskey golem. You just did one damage to the whiskey golem and
oh my
teleport
God.
him 2 plus so about 8 inches. Yeah, about 8 inches up the board before he even activates.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
I didn't because there's no size requirement for that.
No, there isn't.
That seems like there should be a size requirement.
And the most damage you're gonna do to the whiskey golem with this is 1 damage. You're
Yeah,
not-
because on max it's like 3. Oh no, if you flip the red Joker, that's even a 4. So
No.
I mean, I guess
you don't choose the red Joker.
sure. Yeah, I guess you're right.
There you go. You don't have to choose the red Joker.
I mean, but I don't know. But even still, I mean, even if for some reason you did choose it, that's still a max of 2.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh.
Yeah, right.
To teleport 8 inches up the board.
Yeah, it seems good.
Yeah. So yeah, I was looking at that. I was like, holy crap! Ramming speed actually gives him a suit. I didn't even think about that. Damn.
Yeah, and all the writers have that, so that's something they all have.
Dude, all of these things that are writers related makes me question. It's like, why do we play things that are not writers again?
Yeah, why are we not all just on mounts?
Because everything here looks like they're like 2 kilos of cocaine, and they're like decided to
And-
go racing.
So we're not going to talk about Stumpy because I don't like Stumpy, but I do want to hit on Ruffles real quick.
Okay.
I don't know actually where I'm going to see Ruffles. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm trying to.
I don't think Ruffles is good.
I mean, you get like this cute little push, but yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Ruffles.
I was for like 2 minutes, and then I saw like these 6 points for 7 health, and I was like, he doesn't have.
Yeah, and
any
he's
defensive
an
stuff.
enforcer too.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, because the crease chicken thing is really useful. Because it's a slightly better scatter. You get to control where it goes. So you can like choose, all right, this guy this way, that guy over there, blah 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 blah, right? And you can affect friendly models. Like it's really really good, but he doesn't do a lot of damage. He doesn't survive, and he doesn't have extra movement. So like,
Well, he's in that weird spot where you and I have talked about this a lot, where when you're in that 6 point range, that 6 stone range,
Yeah.
you have to be the risk has to be worth, the reward has to be worth the risk. So Ruffles is a model where it's like you can see Ruffles almost getting one-shotted or just a couple of swings will take him down. And there's not a big reward with him. Like there's some cute positional stuff and there's some okay movement shenanigans you can do with him. And yeah, you can gain a pass token, but I don't know if the reward is good enough for him to warrant being, especially in Trixie. There's so many good Trixie models you can bring.
yep. I think he's missing Frenzy Charge, to be honest. I think with Frenzy
Maybe.
Charge he would be good. No, because like with Frenzy Charge you can do Stampede, and then Ramming Speed, and then always pick Rampage. So you can go hit somebody, do 2 to 4 damage, move through them, maybe do 1 more damage, charge them again, repeat. So like you can do 4 points of damage with this 6 point model before he dies.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Now that you say it like that.
Yeah.
And then we're not even going to talk about Stumpy. Stumpy doesn't exist.
He's really bad. He's so bad.
But he's riding a wild geist, or she's riding a wild geist.
If she was an whatchamacallit, minion, she'd be great. But she's not.
But she's not.
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
Because then you can use her with Zoraida. It's like right now she technically can be used with Zoraida.
Yeah.
Well, if she was a minion, you could give her, say, like Ancient Pack, or you can give her Frenzy Charge, Mobile Attacker, a whole bunch of things that the upgrades give you, and that's the reason why.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, that's the main reason why. With Zoraida specifically, I don't know what you want to use it for, to be honest.
I don't.
Right?
I'll paint her up because she looks cool. That's about it.
Yeah, if she was speed 5, I definitely would take a second look at her.
Dixon, last thing. I started making my. I finished painting my Bane piglets.
Oh my god!
They look adorable, but sad at the same time.
Please post the finished pictures.
I did. I think.
I didn't see them because I've been looking for that.
You're a liar. They're on there. I can guarantee it.
Okay, then I missed them. I'm sorry. Jeez.
I did post them. They're on Twitter.
Oh, okay. They're on Twitter. That's the reason why I haven't been on Twitter for like 3 days.
Fine, I'll put them. I'll put them in the Discord. I know you're a Discord boy.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Oh my god, they're adorable.
They are, man. They're so. It's kind of one of those things where they look cute, but then you also kind of see how sad they are, and they're like, "Oh, it's because they can't really squeal. They got their snouts covered."
Dude, I love these things.
Well, the main reason I got them is because they're, especially for turn 1, they make your grow up strong triggers easier.
Yep.
Because you can just either, do a 12 to get a war pig or just an 8 to get a wild boar. And I found that really helpful.
There's so much in the math for these guys. I'm happy that you're taking a look into them because I want to see more of them. I really like the piggies. I don't know why.
Well, see, so I actually like the squealers as a model, but when you bring them in the list, you use them for the grow. But then my idea is to then turn the piglets that I, summon to then turn those into the squealers, where I can then use them for the projected voice and the song of the night and day and stuff like that.
Right. They're great support.
Yeah, because healing everything within 5, just 1 point of damage, doesn't seem like a lot, but it's good.
When you reckless as much as you do in Jockeys, it's huge. It's like, I was
definitely
at 1
enjoying.
Life. Yeah, I was at 1 life. Now I'm at 2 because of Song of Night and Day. I'm gonna activate that model that has 2 life. I'm gonna reckless him, and I'm gonna before I die, I'm gonna do some cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the pigs are easy to put damage on, so just the small amount of healing you can put out in each activation is huge.
Yep. God, I can't wait for you to actually post one of the games in the channel.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking the next battle report that we do, I think I'm going to do probably Ulix.
Yep, but please don't be against English Ivan.
Oh no, Chris and I usually agree kind of on a matchup. Okay. I shouldn't say we agree on it. When we kind of, pick our masters, we sit there and think of, okay, is this going to be a good game? And the example that I'll give you, and for the listeners, just so they can kind of see a little bit behind what we're doing, is we did the last battle report. Initially, we were going to do Ophelia against the Next Kids. However, that is a terrible matchup for the Next Kids because of the stuns and the range damage. And we played it just kind of as like a, have fun trying these new masters. And Ophelia 2 just blasted the crap out of them. It wasn't even close.
Yep. I mean, after our game, I was like, that's a dangerous crew, and Pete is piloting it really well. Like, what's going on here? Because it was like your second or third game with them.
That was actually my first game with them.
Jesus Christ.
I do a lot of talking with like the Bayou community though, so we bounce a lot of ideas. Well, I shouldn't say we bounce a lot of ideas. I ask a lot of questions.
Dude, you were like, I forgot what attack it was, but it was like one of the attacks that gives out injured constantly. You were just like chucking that shit all across the table with the greatest.
Oh yeah, I forget which upgrade it is, but yeah, and I actually did that. And if you watch the battle report, you can see I did that turn 1. I used Rami to to extend the range of it. So it was, what does that make it, like 24 inches then or whatever?
22.
Yeah, 22.
Yeah.
And I ended up hitting both of his Brock inspectors. And I did that because I was trying to discourage him from coming into my crew.
Yeah, no, it's cleanup duty. I had to like look it up
Yeah.
again because I was like, I remember having like anxiety attacks. I was like, okay,
Oh, yeah.
I hate this stupid thing because if you hit a severe, it's 4 blasts. It's 4 blasts.
Yeah, all of a sudden your whole crew is just injured.
It doesn't even need line of sight. It's just straight up. Every guy to get hit.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yep. Oh god. And it's stat 6. So it was stat 7 with pretty much everybody in your crew.
Yep.
Yeah, that was dumb.
So, yeah, and I'm excited. The tournament we're going to isn't doing new masters yet. So yeah, that kind of made me sad in the pants, but that's fine. I'm going to play Ulix, I think, in one of the rounds, and I'll start dumpster dunking people with Zip and Maw in the other rounds.
Yeah. Are you using more raiders?
So are you talking about the Lacroix Raiders?
Yeah.
So I am. I just have to get the models. I don't have the models.
Okay.
Which I think Gigabytes, which is the tournament in Atlanta we're going to, I think they actually have Lacroix Raiders there. So I'll probably pick them up when we're in Atlanta this next weekend.
All right. I mean, as long as you're having fun.
Well, the Lacroix Raiders they're pretty good with the second Ophelia. Because putting upgrades on them, and also I like running one with Sly. Sly is really good with an Enforcer or a Lacroix Raider running with them.
Okay. Sly is annoying as hell.
Dude, if you watch that battle report, I don't know if you did.
I did.
Sly did work.
Yeah, he's annoying as hell.
Like, he seems like he's not going to move, but he scoots up. Just to give the listeners an idea, he started on the right flank. He went all the way pretty much onto basically what would be the standard deployment zone, crossed into the middle, started going from blocking terrain to blocking terrain because he has a pseudo secret passage.
Yep.
And I ended up on the left side of the board on the midline.
Yep. If I remember, he also has the attack thing because I remember you push out of like cover, teleported from the location that you were past the cover into like another house or something like that, and then you just moved through the middle and then did another like teleport. No, it wasn't a teleportation. You shot. And yeah, it was just like, this is annoying. This guy is just like, because I played him and I didn't find him as annoying as what you were doing. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know how we do with family. I do love him in Kin though. Kin's pretty like that's why I like Ophelia 2 and Sly, because it now makes it where Ophelia can now compete in some of those other scheme heavy pools where you're dropping markers.
Mm-hmm.
And she puts out conditions and she can move your opponent's models. Trick shot is that's the chef's kiss with that new Ophelia. I love it.
Yep. Also, Sly can shoot the upgrades as well.
Yeah. Yeah, if you really want to.
That's so dumb.
Listen, he has guns for the kin, so he's technically part of the kin.
Yeah, sure.
He's just pushing his card around, giving guns to people.
Good God.
All right, Dixon, I think we're going to end it there, my friend. Those of you that listen to the end, we appreciate you. Appreciate our patrons. Our patrons are awesome. We're putting out a shit ton of Malifaux content. So definitely share our episodes, share the YouTube videos. And with that being said, make sure that y'all are flipping cards and flipping tables, and we will see you all